This is what was the public footpath to the footbridge on the Bessinby Industrial Estate to Georgian Way. It is now a closed footbridge. They have taken down the bridge, which was a stepped bridge, and it linked Bessinby Industrial Estate to Georgian Way. It has been closed down for about a year now, or just under a year. The problem is they're going to rebuild this bridge with steps again. They refuse to build the new bridge with disability access. The reason they're given for this is that there isn't enough space on the Bessinby side of the footbridge. That's why I'm recording this public footpath. The building to the right hand side, you can see the brick building, is an old factory that is closed and owned by the East Riding Council. That factory could be pulled down and used if need be, if they did need more space, which I don't think they do. But the law is, wherever possible, there should be disability access to footbridges, to all new public buildings. They should not discriminate against people with disabilities. Now, I'm walking you along this path because I want you to see how long it is and how wide it is. I don't understand how they can say that they haven't got enough space to build a footbridge with a ramp. We've walked all the way down here and we haven't even reached the place where the footbridge should be built yet. So you can see how long this public footpath is and how wide it is. It's 2.5 metres wide. And as I say, that factory is owned, this factory, this brick building is owned by the East Riding Council. Now when you get to the end of that brick building, there's all this spare land, buildings that are ready to be pulled down, and I suspect owned by the East Riding Council. At this side of the bridge, if they need more space, they've got it. They only have to take this metal fence down. The footbridge is needed by the population in Bridlington. The population in Bridlington is over 30% over 65 years old. There are a huge number of parents with young children who need this shortcut across this footbridge to get the kids to school. There's a huge number at the other side of the bridge who need this footbridge to shop. A lot of elderly people, a lot of people who haven't got a car, and people who can't drive need this footbridge to go for shopping, for groceries. They have to depend on friends taking them in cars. And the roads, the main roads, are over congested with traffic because there's only one way to go, and it's the long way around. And in the summer, it's practically impossible to get through the congested traffic. Now look at all this spare land. They're saying there isn't enough space for disability access for this footbridge. The footbridge is at the bottom here. Well, the footbridge that was at the bottom of this. motorway. Now, I don't know whether you can see this picture because of the sun, but when you get to the end of this footpath, there's a massive square. The square of wasteland is 10.5 metres by 8.5 metres. Now, the East Riding Planning Department are saying that they need a footprint of 10 metres. Right. It's already 10.5 metres by 8.5 metres, and they can easily get another 2.5 metres at the other side of that metal fence. But I don't know why they need a footprint of 10 metres. We're not driving buses over this footbridge. We're using it to get to the shops and schools. I'm going back again. I'm going back down the path. That's hubby Bob following me along. Bob knows maths because he used to be a mechanical engineer. He's measured up. He cannot see any reason for the East Riding Council refusing to give us disability access. As I say, from one side of the bridge it is mainly used by parents with young children who have to carry pushchairs and prams up and down the steps. A disaster waiting to happen. And from the other side, it's mainly needed by people to get to the shops. On the side I'm living on, there's about 400 residents. Across road from me, they have plans to build another 400 plus houses. So when I say 400 plus, I don't know how many they're going to build. It might be 600. So you're looking at a population or an estate with, you can say, not far off 1,000 residences. 1,000 residences without a shop, without any community amenities, without anything. Densely built up with houses and nothing else. And this footbridge is the only means that any of us have to get to the shops, unless we get in the car and go right the way around the busy roads and come to this side, because this is where the grocery supermarkets are. I've spoken to a lot of people in the area. Old people, partners have died who used to be the driver in the family. They have to get a taxi or get a friend to drive them here. It's an outrage in this day and age, especially when there are laws to prevent this from happening. They're building large estates without the infrastructure. There's just nowhere to shop unless we come over the footbridge. And the old footbridge was a stepped one. We want the new footbridge to have a disability access so that we can get to the shops on our mobility scooters, so parents can push the kids to school in pushchairs and prams with their older siblings that they take into school. We need cyclists to be able to use the footbridge. Cyclists are important to save the congestion on the roads. There's a huge need for a footbridge with disability access in this area, unless you want to knock the houses down and start again and really use your planning skills to build an estate with amenities and with roads that you can use to avoid the main congestion on the main roads. You see how long this pathway is, how long it's taken to video this. This is what the East Riding Council are saying isn't big enough for disability access to the footbridge. There's going to be almost 1,000 houses on our estate and nowhere to shop unless we get in the car and go around the main roads and add to the congestion of people coming out for a day at the seaside, car boot sales and all the rest. It's just impossible. So this is needed. Disability access is needed. It's needed for parents, for cyclists, for people with disabilities and for the elderly, all of which there are a huge number in this area. 50% of the population must need disability access in one way or another. There is a need to get over this footbridge on wheels without lifting babies in prams up and down steps and putting themselves in danger and the children, and without elderly residents starving because they can't get to the shops for food.